pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I will now call the board meeting to order, September 5th, 2019. Roll call shows everyone is present. Are there any agenda changes?
Not that I'm aware.
Okay. 4 is consent agenda. August 15th, 2019 regular board meeting minutes. August 15th, 2019 committee of the whole meeting minutes. Licenses and permits, operator licenses as presented. Presentation of accounts and other claims against the village. Are there any questions or concerns? If not, could I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Roll call?
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Are there any pre-registered citizens to be heard?
No.
Nope. Committee reports. A, August 28th, 2019, Zoning Board of Appeals.
Yes, I can give an update on that. In the matter of Richard Kinnison, variance request for 141 Jaco Street. It was a setback variance request. He had a 25-foot setback that he needed to come within 18 feet 1 inches of. There was no found hardships, no disagreements by the neighboring 300-foot area, and it passed in front of the Zoning Board of Appeals 5-0 with a motion to approve that suggestion. That's later on for new business. It's also on the docket to approve the variance permit. So, Mr. Kinnison is also here in case anybody wants to speak to him later when it comes up.
Okay. Any questions? If not, number 7, unfinished business from previous meetings, and there's none. 8, new business. A, Hortonville Area School District State of District Report.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure. Yeah, we will.
So we greatly appreciate the time. I know you have a busy schedule as a board, and we reached out to David and I think discussed with Jeannie just to give a quick update of the school district and happenings within the school district, and thought it was important that we start doing this on an annual basis with our different municipalities. But we appreciate your time, and know your schedules are busy and you might have the Packers on your mind as well, but I appreciate your time this evening. So what you have is a little postcard there. That's our continuous improvement plan. On the continuous improvement, we have it up on the board here. On our continuous improvement plan, that's how we go about business in the school district. We look at, instead of 1-year goals or kind of old strategic planning thought, we look at short-term cycles of improvement, and then we rate ourselves based on outside rubrics, some internal rubrics, some engagement surveys from outside sources, and then we develop strategies in that continuous improvement plan to improve our, what we call, key performance indicators. So there's four quadrants that we look at as a school district: learning and academics, financial stewardship and operational management, safe and orderly schools, and engagement and communications with our students and the community and our parents. And then the key performance indicators are under those quadrants, so we can identify where there's some opportunities for improvement. You know, your school district has 4,165 children in it right now. Out of the 430 school districts in the state of Wisconsin, we are the 42nd largest. I think there's a lot of people that would surprise. It's a growing school district. We'll talk about our population study, but this is how we do business as an administrative team, and thought it was important that you as a village board have our scorecard. And if you notice that yellow one, that yellow opportunity for improvement under safe and orderly schools, we have something called a mod rate. Are you familiar with a mod rate? So we have 500 employees in our school district approximately, and our mod rate is an area for improvement. So those are injuries at work, slips and falls, standing on a desk to replace something when you shouldn't be, workers' comp type situations. So if you're wondering why that's yellow, we have a neat opportunity for improvement when it comes to our mod rate and our workers' comp insurance. So we're looking at some strategies to improve that as we go throughout this year. If you flip through the paper packet that, by the way, I think I've introduced myself to everyone, but I'm Todd, I'm the district administrator, and Mr. Ellenbecker is our high school principal who's with me tonight presenting. We also have a paper packet there that we thought would be slides that would interest the village board. So if you page through to the second slide, there's a property tax history of the school district. Now, it's important to remember that Hortonville is completely within our district, and Greenville is completely within our district, but there's several other municipalities that are split. So we have Center, Dale, Ellington, Liberty, Hortonia, that are all split between our school district and other school districts. So when we give you this slide, property tax history, that's the school district portion of the property tax history. Your village property taxes are gonna look a little bit different. That's just the school district portion of it. So when you look at that, we tried to give you a snapshot from 1994 to 2018. We haven't set our levy for 2019. That's at our annual meeting at the end of October. But you see a general history of, especially in the last couple of years, some mill rate reduction in the property tax history related to the school taxes. If you go to the next slide, it kind of tells you the story why. The state school funding formula is a complex formula, but we can tell you that as you add value, property value in your district, that spreads out the tax rate in the district. So we gave you another snapshot of 1994 to 2018, which shows you the property value increases in the Hortonville area school district. Obviously, it's a growing district from an enrollment perspective, but when you look at that from 1994 to where we are today from a property value standpoint, there's been great property value growth in your communities as well. You know, with property value growth, you're gonna see some enrollment slides in that packet that we gave you. I can tell you I did the enrollment count slide at the beginning of August, and we've grown since then. So those numbers have increased since that point in time. And if you go to the next one, with growth comes a little bit of forecasting and study for the future. So the school district entered into a population study, and we partnered with MD Ruffers out of the Madison area. And Mark Ruffers came in, and the village, I want you to know that village personnel worked with Mark during the study. And all reports I got back from Mark was the work that village personnel did with him was well done. So we appreciate the time of village personnel and working through the population study. But Mark did a projection in the population study, and the entire study's on our website, very transparent. It's on the front page of the website. You can go on there, you can look at the final report. I think it's like a 70-page summary doc. But if you just go to hasd.org, you'll see the entire population study and some of the analytics that Mark used to determine his forecast. And what he came up with was 45 to 50 new students every year for the next 15 years. Was reported to our board in February. So at about 4165 right now, 45 to 50 new students is the projection every year for the next 15, and I can tell you we grew 165 this year. So he was a little bit off. But Mark would tell you that you're gonna come in conservative on those population studies because he doesn't want me or Tom to come back and call him and say, why did you underreport? So we had a substantial growth year, plus 165, well above the 45 to 50 new student forecast. Tom will talk a little bit about it, but that drove us to a facility assessment. But if you go to your next slide, look at all of your schools. I think the really interesting piece of the population study is we're growing on all sides of the district. So a lot of people, I think, in our school district community will point to growth in Greenville, which is true. But there is growth throughout our entire district. And when you look at those slides, the projections are for each of our schools, no matter the boundary side of the district, we're seeing substantial growth and predictions of growth moving forward, which is very exciting because there's a lot of school districts in the state of Wisconsin out of that 430 that aren't having this conversation. They're having the conversation of declining enrollment and how can we cut So we have some exciting opportunities to talk about our communities with in the near future.
So as Todd said, just kind of piggybacking on that, he had talked about how the growth is pretty much universally experiencing across the district. That slide shows that if you look at each of the 6 buildings within our district, there is some substantial growth at each building. The population study that Todd was referencing is actually available on our website. But if you look at one of the heat maps where it talks about, areas that are showing the only areas that aren't showing any increase as far as population are one, the airport, which residentially can't get, and large agricultural areas. So it's pretty exciting to be part of it. So if I can move on to the next slide, just talk about, so where are we going here? Obviously, one of the programs that we're most proud of at the district is our mental wellness program. We obviously realize that students cannot grow mentally, socially, or physically if they're not well mentally. And I know a lot of you have heard of our E3 program. A lot of you are familiar now that we are screening all students K-12, which we're very, very proud of, and that we're able to offer a certified therapist at each one of our 6 sites. However, what makes us, I think, very unique and very special as a district is just the leadership we have within our student body. Within the student body, there are a lot of student programs at the middle school and high school and even at the elementary school that are really combating our mental health situations in each of the schools, and I commend the programs and our students for that. Also, the professional development that our staff engages in on a yearly basis is pretty phenomenal, and I think that is why we continue to see school district after school district after school district come and learn about our E3 program and try to replicate it within their districts as well. So looking forward, obviously there's some very, very exciting opportunities for the community, for the district. Todd talked about the population study that was done. After that, we also did a facility study we partnered with Blue Design Group and Steve Romance to do that. Basically, the findings of that is that obviously we are going to we're going to have some opportunities to grow in some of our facilities. Through that study, we found that 5 of the 6 buildings that we currently have within the district can meet additional expansion. The one building that we currently resides in the building was Hortonville Elementary School. There was not a recommendation that there could be expansion to that building, but the other 5, they seem to be absolutely, we're fit for expansion. So those provides some good opportunities for the school board, for Mr. Tim, to decide how we're going to meet the exciting opportunities with their student population. Retainment and recruitment is a struggle in all organizations. I'm happy to say that we actually 2 years ago, which is their most current data, had a 93% retention rate within our faculty, which is about the regional average was 92, so we're above that. I think we have every expectation that that number is actually going to go up this year. I think efforts like the health clinic that the district invested in, and some other initiatives that the district has invested in has really started to pay dividends, and it makes such a difference with the culture and with the product that we're able to provide to our community and to our taxpayers and to our stakeholders. And we're able to retain those teachers and all staff within the building. And then lastly, Todd just talked about the continuous improvement, and one of the opportunities we have and struggles sometimes with the district our size that's continued to grow is how do we keep all 6 buildings going in the same direction. So I really applaud his leadership. I applaud the district's leadership with this continuous plan, because it really has provided building principals with a clear vision on the direction in which we all need to be heading. And sometimes, like I said, when an organization gets to the size or starts getting to the size that we're at, that vision gets kind of blurred, but I would say it's never been more clear, so I commend that. So, and lastly, I would just like to say, I know we've partnered with the village on several areas. One, the SRO contract, I want to thank you guys for continuing that partnership. I know I can speak firsthand, have the opportunity to work with Brian on a daily basis, and his leadership and the way he's able to work with students is second to none, and I appreciate that. Also, David and the school and the HYS have been working very closely with Hortonville Park. We appreciate this spring, or I think it was actually the fall, last fall, getting that deal done and continuing that partnership so that our athletes and our students have a place to play baseball and softball, and I'm excited for continued partnership opportunities in the future. And then, you know, just the village, the partnership we have with the library. I know that there are many of our high school English classes, and I know especially North Greenville Elementary School runs a program during the summer. We're always looking to find ways and intriguing ways to engage students in literacy, and during those summer opportunities, and by you opening the doors and letting teachers come in, and it's unique, and it's been very beneficial for our students. So.
I want to reemphasize that piece. We have a great appreciation for everything the village does for our schools. We hope you're proud of your schools as well. But just a great appreciation for the law enforcement, for the library, for David's work with Tom on some of the pieces with Autumn Miller Park, and our work with the board. Jeannie, really appreciate the time that you allowed us to come in and share a little piece of our story. And if you want to know more, by all means, contact me, and I'd be happy to take you around the district or answer any questions that you have. Any questions for us?
I do. Do you see in the near future needing any more services from the village, or something that we could be looking ahead? Like, we're looking at budget season, but obviously there's next year's budget and there's the budget beyond that. Should we be looking at, are there anything else that you guys see that coming down the pike?
You know, our fiscal year is different than yours, so it's a little bit different. It's a little more, I think, difficult to match up. So we go July 1 to June 30th. Why that is very, I don't know. So we end up getting some of our revenue in the middle of an academic year. We go through our, well, at least since I've been there in the 7 years, we've used a similar budget process where admins will submit requests. Now there's some automatic kickers in our policies, such as when you reach a certain enrollment size, we're going to add a teacher. So those aren't really decisions within our budget process. They're just embedded in policy of when we add a staff member. You know, what we focused on, Julie, what I can tell you we focused on this last year in the cycle is we started to see more kids come to us in trauma with backgrounds that needed some additional support. So we really tried to focus on adding some paraprofessionals if students needed a one-on-one adult support, and we added some social work FTE to directly, behavioral specialists to directly work with those kids in the classroom, and then bring some of those strategies home to parents that may not have those types of strategies. So to predict what we would need in our next budget cycle, uncertain, but you know, we're gonna have more kids, so I think the instructional piece will be there, but uncertain on answering directly your question.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Appreciate it.
B is R-15-19, approving B&H lighting quote.
Jeremy, you wanna kick it off?
Okay.
Which part of it would you like me to kick off?
Well, I'll start it. So in your packet, there are actual 3 quotes that were generated for what I will call a complete LED upgrade to the admin building. 2 are very similar. Jeremy's quote with B&H lighting came in at $16,083.86. Back out the $15,10 for the Focus on Energy, totaling $14,573.86. Also took one from Master Electric after the Focus Energy, $15,100. And then we had a whopper coming in from Wazoo Power Systems for a total of $51,512. So I did speak to them. They were inquisitive as why they didn't get the contract. I replied economics, to which I answered and heard, well, I'm an economics major, so do tell. Essentially what Jeremy's gonna do and show you is, as you can see, we have 2 different lights in the ceiling here. That's the final product. So it's a retrofit versus going through and actually replacing all of the fixtures. So the company that quoted the $51,000 and change, they wanted to replace everything for brand new. when you, obviously you can see, Jeremy and his helper today went through and he had these changed out in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, so it's very feasible to do the work this way rather than replacing 5-year-old fixtures. So, all due said, there is a resolution in front of you approving the D&H lighting quote for a total of $14,573.86. But we felt it would be important to bring Jeremy in to have him describe what's going on with the building and then also offer you the calculations, because there was a good study that went into this, and he'll be able to talk more into the payback to the village. We calculated approximately 2.5 years, correct?
Yep, with the maintenance savings.
Yeah. So for our investment we should see our payback in less than, in approximately 2.5 years.
David came up with the idea of coming in and retrofitting a couple fixtures just so you guys could see what it would look like. So just as an example, there's 28 watts of energy in there right now without the ballast, because we got rid of the ballast. We don't need it anymore with LED. So there's 64 watts of light with a 0.88 ballast factor, brings it down to 58 watts. That was there. So this is 58 watts, and that's 28 watts. That's the savings that you get in every fixture. We did not take into consideration retrofitting the fixtures that have been done already by the maintenance team, because they've been doing a really good job asking me a bunch of questions over the last couple of years. Like in the library, they've been switching that out. So we're not touching that stuff. Any of the exterior that's been switched out already, we're not touching that stuff either. So the quantities might be a little off if they've done anything since the last time we did the study. So it'll be a plus or minus a little bit here, a little bit there. So that's the savings were projected. David sent me the electric bills. We ran the numbers backwards based off of the total electricity used in the building. Lighting is about 30 to 40%. Ran the numbers on the savings and then ran the numbers backwards for our projections of about $2,800 a year in energy savings, just in lighting.
Does anyone have any questions for Jeremy?
Did you take into account replacement, the difference in replacement costs for stuff that's gonna go out? So we're gonna save $2,800 a year, but I'm assuming those cost more than these when they burn out?
Actually, they are very close
They're
because
close?
of the rebate.
Okay,
About 3 years ago, 4 years ago, it wasn't economically feasible to do it at the time because the price of LED was so high
Yeah.
and the rebate was lower. Now the rebate is higher and the price of LED has gone down.
okay.
So it makes a lot of sense. And fluorescent, I just seen something flash across my desk today that the Department of Energy or whatever is going to try and ban fluorescent in the next 3 years. So you're gonna have to do it. So you might as well take advantage of the energy savings now.
Okay.
Does your price include disposal of the old ballasts?
Yes,
and lamps?
recycled, yep.
Okay.
The ballasts are actually gonna stay in there because there's no PCBs and it's an electronic
Oh,
component.
okay.
So we don't need to put it in the landfill. But the fluorescent tubes are recycled and you'll get a slip that says that it was actually recycled in the landfill.
So the rebate, the focus on energy rebate, this is the full amount that's coming back to us, or this is just the portion that's coming back to the village?
That will be the portion that's coming back to the village.
Okay.
$1,510.
But the rebate is actually larger than that?
No,
No, it's not.
the rebate is the $1,510 that you'll
Okay.
be getting from full.
I just wondering, because I had a quote to redo my, the space where I'm at, and the quote had, I mean, I have 1,200 square feet, and my rebate was almost that much.
Yeah, small business.
Small business, yeah.
Yeah, this is a
Municipal is
building.
different? Okay.
Municipal, school and government, ag school and government, yeah, it's about half the rebate.
Okay, okay. That's what I was
Small
wondering, if it was just a
business.
portion if you were,
Don't, I'm not
Okay.
taking any.
okay. That's the only
That's a
question.
good question. That's a good question.
Anyone have any other questions? If not, could we have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve R-15-19.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. C R-16-19, approving Gabriel Lane land purchase.
Also in your packet, you will see 2 offers to purchase. These are for item number C and D. They basically work together. These are now the 2 offers, and contracts for the properties by Parker. The first one being $22,500 for the outlot, and the second one being for the sum of $175,000, totaling $197,500. So we will have to approve these separately, as they are two properties, but again, this is what we discussed moving forward. These properties are also committed to by Vans Construction, and as soon as we can get these purchased, we can get them surveyed. As soon as we can get them surveyed, we're also going to vacate the property from Michael Richter Street onto the outlot. We've done dealings with the village, with Vans Construction. We are going to see, I'm guessing we're going to see construction on these properties this year yet. He's going to move forward with immediately. So this would all be charged to TID 4. Essentially, it's a $47,500 hit to TID 4, plus any cost for Bob's fees and or surveying and setting up the purchase to Vans Construction.
So refresh my memory from the last board meeting when we had this discussion. The village is going to buy this property, correct?
Correct.
Then we're going to enter into an agreement to have Vans build something on them?
We are going to essentially,
We're going to be
we're going to sell it. We're going to sell it, correct. We're going to do what we need to do to get
we're
it
selling
legal.
back to,
Vans Construction.
got it,
They're going to then develop them.
Okay.
And then what we discussed with Vans Construction is to do it in a timely manner so we can see the immediate increase in the increment. And then also, because we want to see this area develop and basically put the rest, because there's been issues with the residents there. They want to see it completed.
you've reviewed this, Bob?
Yes, I've been actively involved in it. And, in fact, the plan is if you approve it tonight, it's going to close tomorrow. So we're all set to go anticipating that.
So the net result on this will be, there's no gain in the purchase and the sale of the property, am I correct? It affects TID 4,
Correct.
but we're not making $1 on this purchase
No,
and
we're-
sale.
There's a cost, in fact.
In fact,
There's a cost, what's the cost?
$47,500, which we will charge to TID 4. And how I described this to the board when we proposed this a couple months back is a $47,000 investment in our TID is going to create $1.2 million of guaranteed increment with the building of 5 new homes
Okay.
in that subdivision.
Versus the property just sitting there
Right.
indefinitely.
Okay,
Whereas we can look at, substantial contributions to other TID projects that
yeah,
essentially
right,
yield the
right.
same amount.
And out of the proceeds consistent with the offer, the special assessments for the outlot and the additional lot 1 will be taken out.
Correct.
Is Vans ready to move on this as soon as possible?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. As soon as we
All
can.
5 lots?
All 6.
All 6?
So do we have anything in writing from them?
Yes.
Yeah,
We do, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
so it's not like we're gonna buy it.
Yeah, and then
Well,
get, yeah, and then they
We're gonna
get
sit on
cold
it.
feet,
As
yeah.
soon as, in fact,
Okay,
Jason,
what do you have in writing from them?
I have a guarantee on my computer, an email guarantee.
Have you reviewed?
That, it's
reviewed
not,
that?
it's not a formal written document.
So there's no offer of purchase that I've seen at this point.
Should we wait to approve this before? Or should we get a written commitment from them first? I just don't wanna buy $175,000 worth of property and the housing market tanks within the next year or so. Vans says, no, we're not gonna build, we're gonna wait, and here we sit on this property, yielding no tax levy, no income. I'm a little concerned about that.
Well, our plan here, I think, if I understand it right, is we want to purchase it within the week here, and then within that same period of time, we're just going to turn around and sell it right away to Vans.
Is
That's
That's
the,
Carol
That's a
Land
single
Survey.
lot.
Carol,
no,
No.
that's,
6 lots.
that's 6 lots.
Individual lots.
Yes,
Got
so-
it, okay.
So,
That's
so
what I
we're
meant.
gonna buy it and turn it around in less than a week, and Vans is gonna buy it,
Correct.
and then it's on Vans to
Correct.
develop it, it's not, the village wouldn't be sitting on it.
But we have no guarantee Vans is gonna buy it.
Correct, that's what we were talking about,
Yeah.
but you brought up the point, we could be sitting on it in a year. I mean,
Yeah, we could.
unless- Yeah,
We could.
we could.
And if the housing market, went down into a slump, now it's back up, we have no guarantee it's going to continue that. I mean, we could have issues next year already because of the economy, because of, I don't know, I'm a little concerned. As a business person, I wouldn't do that until I had a written guarantee. I'm not gonna buy something on speculation. So I just throw that out there.
Which is fine. The unfortunate side is I couldn't get that guarantee because we don't own the property until this is official.
You can't,
We can do it ahead of time. I know there's ways around it.
right,
Can we do an offer of
But-
intent?
a letter of intent,
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
we can
Letter,
generate a letter.
letter. To
MOU.
answer your question, you need an actual offer of purchase signed by
Right.
both parties. You know, letter of intent is not legally binding.
So I'm not
Can
gonna
we
make
do
a
that if we
motion at
don't
this
own it?
time.
Yeah, I mean,
We can.
we could do an offer to purchase, for the sale of that property, saying, you know, that they're bound
Can-
at, yeah.
Can we pass this contingent with that contingency that we get a letter first?
We can
do that.
We can do that.
Okay.
I don't,
I can get it tomorrow. I'm confident.
I don't
I'm
have any
also
problem,
confident that if we
if
buy this
they're
property-
obligated to purchase it, I don't have any problem.
Not
with
a
it.
letter, but an
Well,
actual
but an
offer.
actual
of
offer.
purchase.
Actually offer.
A legal
Okay.
document.
well, the terms, again, the terms of the offer would be communicated to you. Do you have all those terms?
Yes.
It was for approval by them at this point. Otherwise, that approval process, well, I guess we could prove it. We can make the acceptance after the next meeting, and so we could put it on the agenda for you to approve at the next meeting, but that we have a signed offer by them tomorrow. Do you think that's doable?
Absolutely. Yeah, I spoke to Jason Hain today,
Yeah.
in the doings,
Okay.
because he was wondering where
That'd be fine.
it was in the proceedings, and I said, unfortunately, what we have to do is get the possession of land in order for Carroll Land Surveying to survey the lots to make them then saleable to you.
So if we make everything
Okay.
contingent on
Yeah,
those
on-
conditions, it doesn't hinder you, it doesn't stall you at all.
It's just,
It
what
just-
it's gonna be, come down to tomorrow with signing the property.
It just adds that extra
Right,
layer
but
of protection is what it
in
does.
if in fact, for whatever reason, Hames are unable to do that tomorrow, then that would put out this closing. And, I mean, I assume the other side, Parkers would be amenable to an amendment to extend the closing. So if you wanna do that, that's fine. So you could approve it contingent on a receipt of a signed offer
Okay.
from Vance Realty, yeah.
Okay, I can do that. I'll move to approve R-16-19, approving Gabriel Lane land purchase contingent upon the receipt of a signed purchased offer from Vance.
I'll second that.
And do you need to make a motion for R-17-19 as
No,
well?
that's the next.
It would be,
Yeah.
it would be identical, same, yes.
Do you wanna make that motion, Jim?
With the
Yeah.
same verbiage.
Sure, I'll move that R-17-19, approving Parker Heights outlot purchase, be approved contingent upon a signed purchase order from Vance.
And I'll second that.
We are scheduled to sign on this by noon tomorrow, so I will, first thing in the morning, I'm gonna go to Mr. Haynes' office.
Just a roll call.
And then
I would do a roll call.
Yes, I would like a roll call.
Aye.
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 Motion carried. E, approval of V-1-19.
Yeah, absolutely. This is mine, this is also in the approval of the variance report for the zoning board of appeals for the variance for Mr. Kinnison. Again, it's the variance from an R2 family, it's a lot variance on chapter 17-19 of section 3 of the village code ordinance for 141 Jaco Street, parcel number 240-0744-00. Again, it was a simple setback. The irregular shape of the lot prohibited Mr. Kinnison from building his property. I reviewed the plans with Dick. He did everything in his power to minimize the footprint, to get the foot on the lot. We did the public hearing notifications. It was sent out. There was no criticism to it, no disregard. Nobody came to the hearing to say negative against it. So at that point, it went to a 5-0 motion. I don't know if you want to say anything, Dick, in the matter?
I guess we're ready to dig tomorrow.
Yeah.
So we got it lined up, I mean, but no, there's, tried the best, but just because it was a corner lot and it was 75 feet in the north end of the lot, 100 feet in the south end of the lot with the curve on the side, it was just almost impossible to put in 2 entrances on one side, so I had to put one entrance on Jaco Street, put the other one on Mill to fit it in. And then because the lot sloped a little bit, I could take the entrance on Mill Street and put an exposed basin in there so that I could get the square footage to make it a marketable product.
All right, so you're looking for a motion for,
Yep, just a simple motion to approve D-1-19.
all right, I'll make a motion to approve V-1-19.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Dig your
Yeah.
basement.
Thank you.
You still have daylight left.
It's wet now, so.
Yeah.
F is Halloween
Oh,
trick
yeah,
or
that's
treat
right.
proclamation. And the proclamation for Halloween trick or treating is I, Jeannie Belisle, village president, hereby proclaim Sunday, October 27th, 2019, between the hours of 3 p.m. and 5 p.m. as the official time for Halloween trick or treating in the village of Hortonville. G is DPW snow pusher purchase.
Where's Carl this evening?
He is on vacation,
Oh, okay.
so if you want to take one down, pass
Yeah,
it
you bet.
around, okay? What is circulating is not only Carl's report,
Oh, no.
but on the second page that's stapled to it is the purchase price of $7,187.22. And if you go to the first page, Carl has justified the need for the snow pusher purchase and how he intends to pay for it. Essentially what a snow pusher is on the front, it's a piece of equipment that attaches by a jig. So if you look at the breakdown of costs, they will fabricate a 4-foot tall, 4-foot deep, 10-foot wide piece of equipment that clips on via the coupler to the front end of the loader, the front end loader for the village. And they will use this to take large amounts of snow off of Main Street and put that on Pine Street to help severely reduce the times that is needed for public works, especially on that highway, that busy highway right now. It'll basically double your clearing path of a traditional pickup truck with a plow on it. Very common piece of equipment. The village just hasn't had it in the past. I had one in personal business. They pay for themselves in a year's time with manpower. So with your approval, Carl, I'd like to spend the $7,187.22. So we simply look for a motion to approve that purchase.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I is R-18-19, real estate signature status.
You skip page.
Oh, did I miss one?
Okay.
Just one.
Oh,
Say grant
sorry.
proposal.
H, MSA, grant work proposal.
We are in the process of working with, we need to clarify, MSA has been a provider as now it has McMahon. Prior to tonight's meeting, we received notification from Governor Evers that $75 million of grant money has become available for multimodal transportation and economic development grants. That being said, we don't know all of the caveats to the grant. We're expecting it to come out in the next week. However, the grant application period is approximately, this is soliciting now, and they figure it'll be by end of October is when they're gonna want the grant applications completed and solicited from and it's towns, villages, counties, tribes, anybody's, nonprofits. However, they're putting the majority of the effort at downtown revitalization and thoroughfares of roadways. We kind of got the hint, hint, nudge, nudge from Dean Steingraber from Outagamie County that there is no better regional project than the downtown restoration, revitalization, and improvement of infrastructure in Hortonville once the bypass goes through. This project, if the monies are granted, it's a 90-10 payback where the village will be on the hook for 10% of the funds transferred, and you have 6 years to complete it. So with the timeline that they're suggesting for the bypass, 21 to 24, it would leave us 25 and 26 to complete the project. What we are soliciting for and asking for are funds that we can take from Carl He did not put it on his report like I asked him to. He has a fund extension in Public Works. We're looking to take funds, and we have not, honestly, we have not gotten the quotes yet from either McMahon or MSA, but we have told them in discussion that they would not exceed $10,000. What they would do is we would contract as the village, they would paint the picture from Lake Street to Miller Park, the entire thoroughfare, all of the amenities going down the main street, paint the picture, and then submit and write the grant for the village. We feel after talking with Dean, that he or she who comes to the table with the best presentation and the best story and the best piece, more than likely is gonna get the nudge. We also have insider knowledge that he's gonna be on the team leading some of the disbursements. So with all the proper push, we feel, Carl and I have discussed that we think it's in the best interest that we do this professionally, and we incorporate either MSA or McMahon. We haven't been able to pick that yet. We haven't seen those actual, their actual numbers come in yet, because these meetings took place yesterday and the day before. So we're basically asking permission to not exceed, on a motion of approval, to not exceed $10,000 to expedite the production of a rendition of what this new thoroughfare will look like, and then also grant submission.
Is that who we hired to do the grant, help us with the grant submission for Grandview? Refresh my memory. Was that, it was an MSA?
Yes.
And we had, obviously, a really great result with that.
Absolutely.
Because that's what they do.
It's economics right now, Julie. We just don't know.
I know.
They're gonna produce these results. We haven't seen them yet. And unfortunately, if we wait till the 19th, I think it's gonna be,
No,
they wanna get going. Our biggest fear, honestly, is that this is all of a sudden becomes the end of the month submission.
could be.
I attended MSA's presentation, and they're pretty much on board with what we need. They talked about the changing criteria that isn't out yet for acquiring this grant, and it's gonna have to move fast when it does go. So, especially with the bypass might be, there was talk that might be going in 2 years instead of 3 for construction.
So is this a motion that's needed, or is this a head nod? Because it's 10,000, not to exceed 10,000.
Yeah, I couldn't give you an exact dollar amount, but I would ask for a motion to approve expenditures not to exceed $10,000 for grant work, either from McMahon or MSA. Because we haven't picked that person yet, just because we
We know
haven't
it would
seen.
only be those two.
Yes, because we have not gotten any, we solicited Cedar Corp, Orion, MSA, and McMahon when the initial email went out, and we didn't get anything back from the other providers. MSA and their team, McMahon and their team were all in the village for the initial meetings of what we need from them, what we expect from them, and we just haven't seen the initial pricing structure come back yet. So,
It's really important to the village because of so much infrastructure that has to be redone
I know.
before the downtown gets, the top surface goes in, the curb, and with the walkway and in there, it's
Just the storm sewer underneath
everything.
and Main Street right
So
now.
this submission will include lighting, electrical, the service, water, sewer, storm. It is approximately 4,600 feet from Lake Drive to Miller Park. They're expecting that price to be north of $1,000 a foot. So you're talking around $4.6 million for infrastructure through that thoroughfare. That doesn't include the beautification side of it. So,
I've seen what some of the storm sewers look like.
yeah,
Carl showed
well,
me
they date to the
pictures. It's
1800s
terrible.
on some of them. Some of the Main and Nash, they're handmade. So we're lucky they've been in shape yet.
Limestone, I think.
Yes.
Still, yeah, they're stone. So if you're looking for a motion, I will make a motion that to either hire either MSA or McMahon
McMahon, correct.
to do the grant work proposal for the
Not to exceed 10,000.
not to exceed $10,000.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And now do I, R-18-19, real estate signature status.
This would be for Jean and Jane, if we're able to make our transactions happen tomorrow. They would be the signing agents for the village for the land transactions.
They normally are, aren't they?
They normally are.
They normally are, but they,
It's just a clarification.
Typically, the president and clerk.
Okay, well then I'll make a
Or
motion
treasurer, yep.
to approve R-18-19.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
they
Jay?
they wanted to clarify, Julie.
I
So, but-
totally understand, I just thought this is, wanted to make sure we weren't changing something. Alright.
J is ATV, UTV approval for Bethlehem Lutheran Church.
Are you able to speak on it?
I approved it.
Okay.
I received the paperwork. I approved my end of it. I don't know if the DPW
Yeah.
approved their end. I
We
didn't see
did
that.
prior. So essentially, the communication, what happened here was, we approved the upgrades to the ATV, UTV, and special event permit with UTV, ATV access. What hadn't happened for this application was it wasn't taken to the county level at that point. Once we found out that information, Bethlehem went to the county level, filled out the permit that they needed and required them, paid their fee, I believe, right?
Yes,
With
they
the
did.
county. It was then faxed back to Chris. So at that point, we are set. We just need to make it official that they have done all their paperwork, and that they are able to do their event, which is next weekend.
There wasn't any documentation of, I know that you did new paperwork, but I don't know what type of ATV. I don't know if the ATV is registered. I didn't know that they're even using the ATV because there's nothing documented on the special events.
And that didn't come from county?
No. All it says is approved. Parade permit paid $65.
And there was
I'm
nothing on
assuming-
our permit to list anything,
No,
so they didn't list it, but
no, but.
someone can get a hold of
Right.
you.
And Nathan created a new special event, but, for our village paperwork that needs to be completed. And it's got the ATV placard number that's gonna be on the back of the ATV, things like that. So moving forward, next person or the next time we have something, we gotta make sure we have the proper paperwork.
So we have to
completed, 'cause-
revise it.
It is revised. It's updated and on our
Right, but
village website.
the second one that was filled out by you guys is still not the correct one, so I'm not sure what
I will have them get a
ATVs
hold of you,
Yeah,
if they planned on it,
yep, and I
anyway.
talked to somebody, I have his name written down. He must be doing the event, and we're talking about where to put barricades and stuff like that, so I spoke with him yesterday. We're good to go.
Okay,
So what action
we
do we
need
need to
an
make?
approval from the board. We need a motion.
Motion to approve the special event permit for Bethlehem for Dash on Dash.
Motion to approve ATV, UTV approval for Bethlehem Lutheran Church.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, any other miscellaneous topics for future discussion?
Just gotta schedule the public safety meeting. I'll check my schedule and I'll send something to David and he can send something.
There's a little bit of confusion on who's actually on that committee. One document I have has me on it, and the other document that was produced by Nathan takes me off it and puts Sean on.
Yeah,
Julie,
we
Shauna,
remember you said you wanted to
Jeannie.
be off of that one because,
You put me
It
on
was-
the other one
yeah,
because you
you
thought
went on
that was
public
my best
facility.
fit.
You said you would like less meetings.
Okay,
So then that's when Shauna got appointed. Yeah,
right.
Shauna,
Okay.
Julie,
Just-
Jim, and Jean.
Yeah, just so we have an understanding.
okay, so you know who's on it? Okay,
Who is it?
Shauna, Jim,
Julie?
1, 2,
Dan?
3, 4.
Actually, the four
I
of us
thought
right
Dan
now.
was on it.
Yeah.
Who?
The one
I think Dan
see-
is.
The one I have, Dan's on it.
I think it is a board of
Dan,
five.
Dan
Is
is
it
on,
4 plus the president?
Yeah.
Isn't
So
that
yeah, I
correct?
believe Dan's on that as well.
Yeah, so,
yeah, Dan's on.
Yeah.
but Jeannie's part of everything.
I think
Yeah.
there's so many
So there's
different ones
4.
out there.
She's not
Yeah.
listed on them, but
Yeah.
there's 4, so there's
Nathan.
So
the
it
3
is
of us and Shauna, and then Jeannie's part of every committee.
I
Yeah.
believe, yeah, if I remember right, Dan's on it.
you need to try, when you make these assignments though, you need to try to balance this a little bit. So that there's 2 males and 2 females,
Really?
instead of 1 male and the rest are all females.
It's kind of hard because we
Oh,
have
males?
a lot of.
There's 2 males, 2
I'm referring to the public facilities meeting.
Oh, jeez.
It's just, it was a joke last night.
Like little tiny violin.
Peter was outnumbered.
Hey, I grew up with 3 sisters, I feel your pain.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
10,000 pounds of
I
compressed.
feel very
You're making
sorry
out
for
that
you,
I had
Peter.
4 older sisters.
Yeah, well, I had 1 bathroom.
Okay,
We got the violence.
We did.
all right, where are we at here?
Are there any other
Jean,
topics?
Carl and I talked, we'd like to set up a public facilities or public works committee meeting, probably before next meeting also, so
Okay.
just make people aware of that.
You know, I brought, okay, the other thing too is I brought up in the past, some kind of electronic signboard, LED, we discussed this. Maybe we should resurface that and look at that as part of, you know, procuring it, controlling it. Nathan by Wi-Fi maybe. I think it's a source of revenue, to sell advertising.
To be placed where?
They signed.
Best place I think is, and we've discussed this, is Alonso Park,
Okay.
because you got a lot of traffic there.
So could that be public facilities? We're meeting again in a couple
What?
weeks. Could that be public facilities?
No, I don't think
No?
so. No, because public facilities, you know, we're really dealing with like the parks and these buildings and stuff. I think that really should be under your marketing.
Is this gonna be mobile or?
No,
stationary?
permanent.
Yeah, not to get too deep into the discussion of that, but.
Right,
you should-
we should.
You should make sure to add into the agenda for discussing that, the maintenance and repair expenses, because I contract services to go out and do computer stuff for my business. And I don't do the service on those signs, but I see, every day I see, you know, contracted services going out for maintenance on
That's
those
part of
signs.
the, just, you know,
Yeah,
discovery.
because they don't work and,
Right.
or something of that nature.
We'll check into it.
Yeah, so
Maybe
I
it's part of your
make sure
marketing.
to.
So
look
another
into that.
future agenda, and aren't we getting close to David's 1-year anniversary? Are we getting close to that?
20th.
On the 20th.
September 20th.
So do we have to do our yearly, we have to do a review? Do we have to do a session of that?
I am open for review at any time
Okay.
for what we discussed. So when we went back to, what we had is we had reviews upon, all the employees reviewed on their renewal dates.
Okay.
So what I asked permission was to do a 6-month, 9-month, and 12-month review process. So we just completed the 6-month for all employees,
Okay.
including myself. Jeannie did my review. So at 9 months, then it becomes an employee review going into the budgeting season. 12-month would be how we set this, you know, if there's anything that needs to be addressed at 9-month going into the final budgeting cycle. And then at the 12-month, we hopefully have our wage and benefit report approved.
So we're close to the 12-month, not the 9-month. Or at that time you started, that was like a start date that,
No, we want to get away from the start date, so we're not doing
Okay.
reviews all throughout the year. We want to do it in the 6-month for all employees, which we just did. That was June, it was completed in July. Now we're creeping up on the 9-month where we take a look at them to see if there's any improvement needed. 9-month is basically a quick
Okay.
hitter. If there's any action, or if they were put on an improvement plan at the 6-month, what's changed at the 9-month mark, at the 12-month mark? Hey, do you have employment? Do you not have employment? At that point, they also sign for their, if we have an approved wage and benefit report, we know their wage going into the new year, they commit to their job for the new year. It's required by our.
normally though the board, didn't we do this with the previous administrator? Didn't the board kind of go through the review too? Or is that just the president? I just want to make sure, I'm just trying to schedule things out.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So by your 6-month, 9-month, you're talking calendar,
Yeah.
not based off,
Making them all
not based
co-term.
off of when they were hired,
They're all
so.
co-
Yeah,
June,
it's not
July.
anniversary.
Correct.
Yeah,
Makes
October,
sense.
okay, yeah.
Because what I have now is a 2019 6-month for all employees. and I had included myself, because I was given a copy back by Gene. And then, at 9 month will be, it'll be a touch-up. 12 month will be, where we produce their, I don't know the exact, what I called it, but it's essentially their job description and then what their base pay is for the next year, and then they sign off on it with their goals for 2020.
You know, we're really supposed to limit the
We're not supposed to
discussion.
discuss it, and that's, I
Right.
guess what I just wanna make sure is looking at future board meetings, if I need to make sure that I'm available later on, if we go into and kind of review our closed session.
So we'll bring
Closed
it up
session,
as an agenda item.
yes.
Yep, okay.
Any other topics? If not, we'll move on to 9, report of village officials, administrator.
I think everybody got a handout, that sure came around. In the economic development, happy to report we've had preliminary development work continue with the Horizon Group, Commonwealth, as well as SC Swiderski. These are 3 individual developers. I won't take all the credit. Carl has worked on this with me as well. Essentially, we are looking to qualify all properties that could fall in either TID or areas for residential multifamily developments. I know you'd be concerned by seeing the Commonwealth. I had multiple conversations with him. Chris will attest that development has gotten much better in the past month or so, correct?
Kind of, we were at 12 there today.
Okay, well, so be it. However, these are all very early on discussions, but these groups are qualifying parcels in the village and then would come forward with performas. So 2 out of 3 are actually at the point where they're producing performas. So we can analyze whether or not the village can invest further in multifamily development, which is also a very needy piece of the puzzle for residential residency. We are also, the RFP procedure for the 40 by 80 shed is open. It is concluding on September 19th. We have heard interest from 4 people so far year to date where I've answered questions to that RFP for services. Skipping down to the village programs, planning and activity. The budget is moving along nicely. As anticipated, the DOR has not done their diligence yet, so we don't have the numbers. We rely upon them to calculate our net new construction and our levy limits. It's not released yet. We essentially, Jane and I will get notification when they release any and all forms from the DOR. At that point, then we can go in and start our calculations to see what money is available for our general fund. We really, so I'll give kudos to all the department heads. Everybody's up on it. We've essentially filled in all the pieces we can. Chris is unfortunately gonna wait on Chris to see what the determination is there, but I'm sure she's well on her way. So expectations are coming in this week for the DOR. Usually it's early September. Last year was September 9th. Insurance rates have been finalized with increases in health, workers' comp, and retirement system. All others have held the line. Unfortunately, those are the ones that don't cost very much. Other programs had to report strong body stepping on Tai Chi classes will all resume this week in village facilities. So we're getting a good mix of activities happening in either the Opera House or in this facility. Speaking of Peter's marketing, as I reported earlier, Appleton Magazine has selected Hortonville to be the featured destination city for their October write-up in their magazine. I'm meeting tomorrow to do the first parts of the submission for the village. So I'll be happy to show all you that when that issue comes out. And then probably the biggest meeting in the last 2 weeks was Carl and I attended, as well as Ryan St. John, the utility portions of the Highway 15 kickoff. I'll just say there's going to be a lot of work to be completed prior to them scratching earth. That's a big procedure, but they have it dialed in. The people that were there are way smarter than me. So we're talking engineers, and yeah, that's a whole different element there. So, but there are meetings coming up that Jeannie and I will attend for the municipal officials, and then also there's a public input session on the 24th. And I don't have any directives yet. I know it's going to be at the county building, but I'll get you a time and date on that as well. Okay, 17th. And that's all I have, unless there's questions.
The September 24th one's at the school, isn't it?
Again, confirmed at the school, but not for sure.
Oh, okay.
So I haven't seen the confirmation, I just got the email that I have has the 2 dates.
Can
And I
you
know the
provide
first-
that when you get it?
What's that?
Can you provide that when you get
Absolutely,
it?
I'll send the email, notes, all of that, yep.
Are there any questions for Dave? If not, we'll move on to B, clerk treasurer.
We received notification that the Allegheny County tip fee per ton is going up $2 per ton. Just wanted to-
35,
Pardon me?
be 35 a ton,
$2 a ton.
or 35 total.
Up to 35, yes.
Yes. And then Nathan and I will be attending, there's 16 different webinars from the Wisconsin Elections Commissions, just to keep us up to date on all the latest and greatest election rules. And Libby, myself, and Lisa will be attending the annual Civic Symposium, which is the training for our new accounting software. We did attend last year, but this year we'll have a better handle on it because we've been using it. And just to make a note that we've never reconciled using the computer, using the accounting program. Now we reconcile to the penny every month. So
Wow.
Libby's just ecstatic.
Nice.
So that's been wonderful. Yes, okay, that's all I have.
Any questions for Jane? If not, Carl submitted his
Correct.
report.
Yep, you had it, we talked about the snow pusher earlier. Other notes, just that Brookwood Drive extension, the final landscaping is complete. And that project, as well as Grandview, before we can send out the assessment notices, we're still waiting on bills to come in, the final bills and payments. The notable on Grandview is that there's 31 parcels to be assessed. And I believe Carl said that initial look was
About 36.
$3,600 per parcel would be the assessment. The water tower update, the coating and the painting and all the construction is done. They will start refilling it on Monday, and there's 2 subsequent tests that have to take place for the bacterial samples. So they're hoping that by Thursday next week, we're back on full line on the trailer.
Awesome.
And for your knowledge, Carl is off today. He's using some of his funeral leave because his father-in-law passed away last week. So he is using a little bit of his funeral leave this week, and then he's taking vacation all of next week. So he'll be off till Friday of next week, through Friday of next week.
D is police department.
We hired a new part-time officer in July. His name is Austin Manders. He wrapped up his training the second week of August, so he's been on his own for a couple weeks. And then we started training another new officer. His name is Nick Burkert. He's got 2 weeks. Andrew's leaving. His last day is tomorrow. So I guess I'm gonna end up being his field training officer for the next 2 weeks, or 4 weeks. It might take 5 weeks, because there's just no way that I can designate 40 hours a week to training an officer. So, yeah, so we'll struggle through that, and we'll get them trained when we can get them trained, and hopefully it doesn't go over to having to put full-timers in those open spots. Other than that, things are, with school's going. We had to hire a new crossing guard. So she is working a couple mornings over by the BP, and a couple afternoons over here by the cemetery. So Kay trained her one morning. I stood by with her this morning just to make sure that she got it done with all that traffic. She was a little overwhelmed with the highway 15 and Nash. So, and then I don't know too much about the one in the afternoon. I'm normally gone. So, other than that, I have nothing. Anybody have anything for me?
Did someone quit crossing?
Yeah, Dave did. And then
Dave Burton.
Dave
Oh.
Burton, right.
Okay.
Anna, when Anna came back, because Anna was doing both daytime and afternoons at the cemetery, Monday through Friday. During the summertime, when there was no crossing, she picked up some hospice. So she was taking care of some patients and stuff like that. And she's still doing that for maybe a couple more months. So, but she said if I could fill the spot and whoever wants that spot, they can just take it. But she drives back and forth from Oshkosh. So she'll come in the morning for 15 minutes to cross kids from Oshkosh, and then she'll come back at 3 o'clock and cross kids for 45 minutes. And the reason why she does it is she's from this community, and she loves this community, so that's why she does it. So.
I just heard today that the crossing guard that was by Oaken was a little hesitant on some things. I don't know if he needs a little help. Oaken Nash.
Oh, is that,
Today.
that must be Dennis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had a little difficulty, I don't know. The traffic is really heavy there.
It's heavy on both intersections.
Oh,
at
yes,
that time.
it is.
It's absolutely crazy, cause I mean, I can sit on Nash, you know, facing north to Oak, and it's like, you sit there and it's like, holy
Yeah.
crap, cause it's like, one's pulling out and one's pulling, and it's like, oh, they barely
Yeah, after
miss
school.
each other, you know, and it's an absolute zoo.
Yeah.
That whole everybody keeps saying to me, there should be a roundabout there, there should be a roundabout there.
Yeah.
And maybe that's, I don't know, that's a highway project.
Bypass.
I don't even.
Four-way stop
Bypass.
would be much
Bypass
nicer.
something,
Four-way
but
stop.
Four-way
Four-way stop
stop,
makes much more
but-
sense, yeah,
Yeah.
anyway, yeah. But Denny does downtown a lot, didn't he, last year?
he did.
Dennis, yeah.
See, and Kay is our other crossing guard, and she owns bricks. So she's kind of phasing out too. She can't do as many because she doesn't have the help in the morning. So that's why Luana, our new lady, picked up Tuesday and Thursday in the morning, and then she's got 3 Amanda shifts in the afternoon.
I just think that's such a funny intersection with, you know, the no stop, and it's
Exactly.
probably harder for him than the Main Street one
Yeah.
with the stop and go lights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe we have to assess and see, because he's really never been at that corner.
Yeah.
However, him and Kay did a swap, so.
Mhm. Does anyone have any other questions for Chris?
Who pays the crossing guards? Where do those funds come from? Your budget?
Yeah.
Is there an opportunity, I'm just gonna throw some flies into the ointment, for some part-time officers to pick up that 15, 20 minutes? No?
We were doing that at the end of last year,
You were?
and I ended up, instead of going home on a Friday at 1 o'clock, because I already had my 8 hours in, I had to stay and cross kids.
It ties them up, they can't, if there's
The
a
other
call,
thing
they
is
can't
they're
leave.
not reliable. At one point today, we had 3 calls stacked,
Yeah.
and if it's 3 o'clock and you're crossing kids, which it was, that's exactly what it was this calls were stacked at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. There's no way you can depend on having the officer
Yeah,
go cross kids.
okay.
E is library director.
I wanted to wrap up our summer library program. Our total number of new registered cards for the summer was 133. That's pretty good. 31 of them came just in August. We already have about 10 or more this month, because the school district lists off the cards as one of the school supplies for 8th graders. So that helps us, that helps them, because we do have teachers come across with their classes to do research projects and stuff. So that's been pretty cool. September is library card sign up month nationally. So there's a big push for September in that respect anyway. Our final total for summer library program registrants was 993, up 10 from last year. We had a total of 51 programs and a head count of 1,309 attendees total. Our end of summer program, we saw well over 100 attendees coming and going. So that was pretty cool to see. The bookmarks that our registrants use to log their hours over the summer, we found 7,857.8 hours read by children and 736.9 hours read by teens.
So that's significant to combat some of that potential lack of literacy buildup throughout the summer in between school years. We have some pretty exciting fall programming coming up. We're going to have a Halloween costume dance party for kids where we're just going to put on some Kids Bop and some Monster Mash and have kids just dance for a half hour. We are going to do a Franken-Toy program similar to Toy Story for teens only because we're using hot glue guns. Using broken down toys and trinkets from like McDonald's things that kids just tend to collect, and cutting them apart, and then they can glue them into Franken toys. That'll be at the beginning of November, so we're really excited about that.
Do you need any toys?
It was going to. Yes. We have, I will be putting out a big tote box for people to drop stuff off, so feel free to drop stuff off. It'll take us a while to cut them apart, so that'll be really helpful to have them well enough in advance. We have some collaborative programs going on with UW Extension as well. We have a Taking Care of You, which we have about 9 to 10 people signed up, which is phenomenal considering the last time we tried to have it during the day. We had to cancel it because we didn't have enough registration. So this time it's in an evening, and 9 to 10 is like the minimum that they will have. So for it to be UW Extension program, they need a specific amount to make it worth it for them to come out and have this program. And then we also have a food safety program that we're having, kind of talking about the new standards of why are you supposed to blanch your vegetables before you freeze them, and food safety, things like that. So we've got some pretty exciting programs coming up. Fox Valley Tech is coming out to give parents and students information on financial college aid and the FAFSA form and things like that, that maybe parents who haven't been through that process before can really get some good information on. And we have International Games Day coming up in November. So a lot of really exciting things happening this fall. We're pretty excited.
Any questions for Ally? If not, we'll go to F, attorney.
Julie, just a report on the Schilling property. There is a foreclosure and it's proceeding, and it's still early, so there's nothing to report.
Thank you.
You bet. I'll keep you posted.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
G is building permit report, and that is in the packet. H is municipal court report.
I'm prepared, but if you want to speak, it's your baby.
I can.
Christina does email me with updates for the meetings, so, but if she's here, I'd give her the platform.
So the information for August is the court collected $7,983. And from state debt collections, it was $546. And in August, we had 78 citations on our docket, so ramping up. The end of the year is always very busy. And this year alone, there was 516 citations written by officers. That's only the ones that stayed in the municipality, so there are other citations that have gone to circuit as well, so the officers have been very busy. And I looked at our state debt collection numbers, so everything that has already been sent to the Department of Revenue that they're working on collecting is up to $58,000. So they're actively pursuing all of that debt collection, and our debts are still hovering around $108,000 of outstanding debts that I'm working on.
What resource are you using for collection?
Just the Department of Revenue, their state debt.
Okay, so how do they collect it?
They can collect it from any bank accounts. If someone has a job, they can collect it from employers, so they do a wage garnishment.
I know we at one time, a number of years ago, talked about rebates, or not rebates, but tax.
Refunds.
Refunds.
They do that.
They do that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So we have two different debt collection options that I can submit debt to. One is TRIP, so it's Tax Intercept Program. And that one, they only tap into what their tax returns would be, whereas the state debt collection can tap into their tax returns as well as all of those other options. So the court system as a whole is trying to get away from using tax intercept alone, because it's only that one little piece that they can get.
You're also on a list too, so
Yes.
Yeah.
you could be number 15 or 30, depending on how many debts they have.
If you don't have a
right.
job. But we're being proactive. Bottom line, you're being proactive with trying to recover these funds.
How old are they? I mean, how old is 108,000?
There are debts in there from 2008.
Yeah, I remember it's well over 10 years.
The system's broken.
Yeah, it was.
Do they ever die, do they ever go
Expire?
away, do they expire, or does it just keep, okay,
No, and sometimes it's said you can go after the estate when people pass,
okay.
but we do not do that. If somebody's passed, we delete their citation amount, so there's no date of expiration. We just keep trying any options that we can.
Is there a reason why we don't? Because I know like during probate, don't they do a public notice?
Yeah.
If there's any debts
Oh,
owed?
sure. But, you know, typically the people that owe the fines
Little?
are, they owe the fines for a reason,
Uh-huh.
that they haven't paid them, right?
Okay, all right,
So their lives usually lead to no probates,
okay.
typically.
So what's the highest amount owed? Any recall? Are we talking thousands?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
There's a couple individuals that their citation amounts just keep adding up. And that's the struggle, because they sit on the books and they owe thousands of dollars and they don't work for an employer.
Mm-hmm.
So then we just sit on the
Cash. They
And-
work for cash.
And they might owe it to multiple departments
Mhm.
or multiple municipalities, so it's get in line basically.
Mhm.
Well, I commend you on taking an aggressive approach.
Mhm.
Much better than what we have done in the past. Okay.
Any other questions? If not, we'll move on to 10, communications and miscellaneous business. A, Black Otter Lake District.
I'll be quick. There was annual meeting on August 19th down at Alonzo Park. We had about 25 or 30 people there. Had food. Talked about the past year, looking ahead, shoreline planting grants, eradicating invasive cattails, the storage building, the weed harvester, that people that were there were updated on all of that, so. I think it went okay. The hot dogs were good, weren't they?
Yeah. Any questions for Pat? B, Hortonville, Hortonia Fire District News,
Budget meeting coming up next week,
Tuesday.
the only thing,
September 10th.
yes.
Okay. C is Gold Cross Ambulance Run Report, and that is in the packet. Any questions on it? If not, we'll go to D, Hortonville Civic Association.
Still working with Carl and Dave on that walkway at Alonzo Park. Gonna start doing some planning on some additional lighting and sheeting underneath the pavilion, possibly doing that this year. And then we have planned on doing an event on the 22nd, I think, of February.
Saturday?
Yeah, it's a Saturday.
Correct.
But Nathan, you need to, based on our discussions last night, you need to make sure that we have booked that Friday, Saturday and Sunday. Okay, all right, and that's it.
Any questions for Peter? E is Senior Activities Committee.
We met last Thursday. Nathan developed a calendar that we can have at the meal site here at Potluck with all the senior activities, plus we're including library activities that are appropriate for seniors, as well as classes on there. Autumn Fest is October 16th from 12 to 3. We're having it at St. Peter and Paul this year. Jean Long Manteufel is speaking on transitions, how people make transitions from moving from their home somewhere else, kind of focusing on how do you make decisions about property, that kind of thing. Not legal things, but
what do I do with this item? We're having the Trishaw there from Make a Ride Happen, so people can have a ride on a Trishaw if they want to. We submitted a grant, proposal to Quick Trip to get a card to get ice cream. And we're looking at other programs, including intergenerational programs with the schools, with technology help, maybe some crafts, things like that. We took a trip to Mosquito Hill, and we're gonna go to Seymour for Jerry App's talk. He's a Wisconsin author, so we're gonna carpool there. Meal site still struggles, but I think it's the same all over with all meal sites from what I've heard. And library continues to do outreach to Pinewood and hopefully to Care Partners too.
Any questions for Pat? If not, we'll move to 11, comments and suggestions from citizens present.
I'll just make a comment on Grandview Road. I'm very pleased with the results there. It was a long time coming. It's good to see it's finally safe to drive down.
Thank you. And 12 is adjournment.
I'll make a motion.
I'll make a motion on behalf of the Packers and the Bears to adjourn this meeting.
Second.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.